I had exactly 38 seconds of calm before everything went to hell. I walked in, tossed my keys on the counter, kicked off my shoes, and took a deep breath. Finally home after a day that had been brutal, back-to-back meetings, soul-crushing traffic that made me question my will to live, and a headache that was just getting worse. All I craved was a cold beer, a soft couch, and an escape from the world. And then, out of nowhere, came a knock. Not a polite tap, but a loud, rapid, urgent pounding. I frowned. It was nearly midnight. Who on earth would be knocking at this hour? I glanced up the stairs. The house was silent. Ashley had promised she'd be asleep by 10. I didn't want to wake her, but something about that forceful knock rattled my insides. I opened the door, and there he was, a stranger I'd never seen before, standing on my porch as if he owned the place. Tall, with messy, tousled blonde hair, his shirt half undone, and wild, bloodshot eyes that fixed on me in utter disbelief. We just stared. Then he let out a breathy, incredulous laugh that sent a chill down my spine. "S," he muttered while running a hand through his hair. "You're real." I felt an icy ripple crawl up my back as he exhaled sharply, as if he were trying to catch up with reality himself. I thought, no, she must be lying. Another dry, humorless laugh escaped him. He shook his head. I really hoped she was fibbing. The air in my lungs turned to lead. My fingers tightened around the door handle. "Who the hell are you?" I managed, my Adam's apple bobbing with the question. Then, with an expression of pure pity, he replied, "Ashley's boyfriend." For a full 5 seconds, my mind went dead. Everything shut down like an old computer hit by a power surge. Nothing made sense. Words were just noise as the world tilted on its axis. The weight of his words hit me hard. Ashley's boyfriend? The floor seemed to give way beneath me, my fingers gripping the door frame. Yet, strangely, my voice came out disturbingly calm. "Could you run that by me again?" The stranger on my porch shot me a look that made my blood boil, as if he felt sorry for me. Dude, I don't even know what to say. He ran a hand through his unruly blonde hair, and then, as if addressing a mounting sense of inevitability, muttered, "I should have known." He listed it out. The odd schedules, the sudden cancellations, and the fact that I'd never even been to her place. "Jesus," he added with a humorless chuckle. "She told me you were some crazy ex who just wouldn't leave her alone." Crazy ex. Those words burned down my throat like acid that I didn't move. I didn't blink. My pulse pounded so hard I could feel it in my teeth. Every fiber of me screamed to explode, to grab this guy, slam him against the wall, demand answers, demand any proof that could make this nightmare make sense. But I stayed perfectly still. I wasn't mad at him. I was furious at her. "Start talking," I said in a low, steady voice. "Everything right now." He hesitated, and that was when the floodgates opened. "His name's Tyler," he finally said. "You and Ashley had been seeing each other for 6 months. I thought she was single. She'd just gotten out of a toxic relationship with, well, me. She told me she couldn't have guys over because I was dangerous." Tyler looked like he was about to be sick. Man, I swear I had no idea. I feel like a complete idiot. He fished his phone out of his pocket and showed me message after message. Texts, photos, videos, a message from 2 hours earlier, while I was at work, completely oblivious, that said can't meet tonight. Tyler explained that he had come home early. My vision tinged red. "I'm so sorry, man. I came here to see if she was lying, to check if you were actually real. I didn't think she was..." A sound from the top of the staircase made us both freeze. Soft footsteps. I lifted my gaze, and there stood Ashley at the top of the stairs, barefoot, wearing one of my shirts, her dark hair still damp from a shower. Her eyes flitted between me and Tyler. She didn't gasp, cry, or even look guilty. She simply sighed. Then, in the most nonchalant tone imaginable, she said, "Well, this is awkward. I hadn't expected tears, panic, denial, or anger. Instead, it was as if I'd walked in on her changing, Just a mildly inconvenient moment rather than a 6-month-long lie being exposed. Ashley stood there with her arms crossed, one hip cocked, and an annoyed look on her face. Tyler looked completely lost. "Ashley, what the hell is going on?" he demanded. She rolled her eyes, an exaggerated, dramatic roll. "Oh my God, Tyler. What do you think is happening?" Tyler's face twisted in disbelief. "So it's true. You've been lying to me this entire time?" Ashley scoffed sharply, exhaling through her nose and rubbing her temple as if dealing with a toddler's tantrum. "I never thought you'd ever find out. I figured we'd just end things before it got messy." She shot me a glance. "You weren't supposed to be home yet." I could feel rage simmering under my skin, but I forced my voice to remain even. "That's what you're worried about? Bad timing? Don't start with the dramatics," Ashley snapped, gesturing toward Tyler. "You've never even met him. Why do you care?" Tyler let out a sound that was like getting punched in the gut. "Ashley, are you serious?" "Yeah, Tyler, I'm serious. Look, I didn't mention him because it wasn't relevant." Tyler let out a hollow laugh. "Not relevant? Dude, how are you not losing your mind right now?" "The truth is," I said, "I saw it. I saw it so clearly." This wasn't Ashley under pressure trying to salvage the situation. No, this was the real Ashley unmasked. I exhaled slowly and folded my arms. "You know what? You're right, Ashley." She blinked, caught off guard. "Huh, you're right." I nodded. I shouldn't be dramatic. I mean, why would I be upset that my wife, Tyler, who has been screwing some other guy behind my back for half a year, would do this? That would be crazy, wouldn't it? Tyler's head snapped toward her. "You're married, Ashley." Her nostrils flared, and for the first time, she looked nervous. Tyler ran both hands through his hair, laughing in pure disbelief. I thought this was bad before, but married?" Ashley lifted her chin, her jaw tightening. "Okay, can we all just calm down?" "Calm down?" Tyler barked out another laugh. "Ashley, you lied to me for 6 months. You lied to him for who knows how long. And now you expect us to just shake hands and move on." She merely shrugged. I saw Tyler's hand twitch as if he were fighting the urge to flip the entire kitchen table. But I was done. Utterly done that I said evenly, "Tyler, I think you, and I should have a drink." He hesitated. "What?" Ashley tenses. "Wait, no, that's not necessary." I ignored her as my eyes locked onto Tyler's. "You probably feel like an idiot right now." Tyler exhaled sharply. "You're not alone. I was just as blind as you. So, what do you say?" I walked toward the kitchen, grabbed a bottle of whiskey and 2 glasses, and then we sat down to drink and compare notes. Tyler's gaze shifted toward Ashley, whose face had suddenly lost all color. "Tyler," she said in a low, urgent tone, "don't." I watched her, noticing the first crack in her carefully maintained confidence. Tyler did too. He turned back to me, and then, with the slow, dawning realization of a man who's just pieced together the final part of a puzzle, he nodded. "Yeah," he said, "let's do that." Ashley's mouth fell open. Then, in a desperate move, she lunged forward and grabbed Tyler's arm. "You don't have to do this," she whispered. "We can just leave right now." Tyler's whole body stiffened. We both understood exactly what she meant. I poured the whiskey slowly and steadily, my pulse hammering in my ears, and slid Tyler's glass across the counter. He didn't move. I didn't move. Ashley's fingers tightened around his wrist like a vice, her knuckles white. I could practically see the gears grinding in her head as she desperately tried to salvage the situation, trying to reel Tyler back in before he did something irreversible. But Tyler just stared at her. Then, with the measured, deliberate movements of a man waking from a long, ugly dream, he pulled his arm away. Ashley flinched. Tyler exhaled hard and rubbed his face. "Jesus, Ashley," his voice came out hoarse and exhausted. "You weren't just playing me. You were keeping me around as a backup plan." Ashley's lips parted as if to protest, but I beat her to it. "Of course you were," I said, picking up my whiskey and taking a slow sip. "This is exactly what she does. You think you're special because she felt something real for you. I shook my head. No, you were just a side project, a toy. Tyler let out a sharp breath, his jaw tightening. He turned back to her with a hard expression. Is that true, Ashley? She hesitated just a moment. And that was all the confirmation Tyler needed. Tyler clenched his fist. God, I was such an idiot, he muttered bitterly. I should have known something was off. You never wanted me to meet your friends. Never let me see your place. Everything was always on your terms. Ashley snapped. Oh, grow up, Tyler. You were fun. That's all, she spat. It wasn't supposed to get this serious. You think I wanted all this drama? I was just trying to add a little excitement. And you two were acting like I committed murder. Tyler reeled as if she'd slapped him. I smiled. That smile was the final nail in the coffin. The moment Tyler realized exactly who Ashley was. He exhaled, shaking his head. You're unbelievable, Ashley, she scoffed. Oh, please, you're both being ridiculous right now. Tyler turned to me, his whole body radiating disgust. I'm so sorry, man. I swear if I'd known. I waved a dismissive hand. Not your fault. Ashley made a strangled noise, her face twisting in frustration. This isn't how it was supposed to go, she insisted. She had wanted chaos, a chance to scream and control the situation. Instead, she was losing both of us at once. She stepped forward. Okay, listen, this has gotten out of hand. Why don't we just... I laughed a loud, sharp, almost cruel laugh. Ashley froze. When I spoke next, my voice was calm. Too calm. Tell me, Ashley, I said as I leaned forward, resting my elbows on the counter. What's it like? She blinked, confused. What do you mean? I tilted my head. What's it like to be so utterly without a soul? Silence fell for a moment as Tyler sucked in a sharp breath. Ashley's face contorted. How dare you, she began, but I interrupted. Seriously, I smiled. I want to know. You don't even look sorry. You're pissed because you got caught, but you don't feel any remorse. And that, to me, is fascinating. What goes through your head? Did you ever love me at all? Or was I just a convenient placeholder? Tyler's nostrils flared. I married you, didn't I? He muttered under his breath. I let out another low laugh. That's not an answer, sweetheart. I leaned back, sipping my whiskey. But that's fine. I already know the truth. Ashley hated that. She hated that I wasn't raging, wasn't begging, wasn't crumbling at her feet. She wanted a reaction, but I wasn't about to give her one. That I turned to Tyler. You leaving? Or do you want another drink? Tyler hesitated, then nodded slowly. Yeah, he muttered. I think I need another. Ashley lost it. You gotta be F. No, you're kidding me, she shrieked. You two are just gonna sit there and bond over how mean I am? Grow up. I smiled at her, a smile that widened. And that was when I noticed the first flicker of panic in her eyes. Good. She had no idea what was coming next. Ashley was unraveling, and I was savoring every second. Her confidence, her arrogance, they were gone. She'd always thought she had everything under control, that she could manipulate her way out of any situation. But Tyler and I were beyond that. We weren't screaming or fighting over her anymore. We were laughing, drinking, and bonding. And that only drove her further into desperation. Storming forward, she snatched the whiskey bottle off the counter. Enough of this, she snapped, gripping it so tightly her fingers trembled. I'm not going to stand here while you two act like I'm some kind of villain. Tyler scoffed. Oh, you're not just a villain, Ashley. You're the whole damn movie. I chuckled as I swirled the whiskey in my glass. You know, if you'd just come clean, maybe this wouldn't be so entertaining for me. Her eyes narrowed. Entertaining? Fun. I smirked. Oh yeah, because I've been thinking, you spent 6 months playing me for a fool, lying to my face, sneaking around, treating me like a goddamn joke. And Tyler, I turned to him. Same thing. Tyler exhaled sharply, jaw tightening. I looked back at Ashley with a widening grin. So, I figured, why not return the favor? Ashley stiffened. What are you talking about? Tyler frowned. Yeah, what do you mean? I set my glass down slowly, fixed my gaze on Ashley, And then, with calculated calm, I said, "You're homeless, sweetheart." Everything stopped. Ashley stared at me, blinking once then twice. I leaned back in my chair, stretching my arms. "Oh, did I forget to mention? The house, the bank accounts, all in my name." Her lips parted, and her eyes darted toward Tyler, as if he were about to shout, "You're kidding, right?" But I wasn't kidding, I continued. "I was stupid enough to love you, but I wasn't foolish enough to trust you with my money. Your name isn't on the lease, on the bills, or even on that car parked out front. It's all mine." I tilted my head. "Oh, and your credit card? The one I pay off?" I just pulled out my phone, tapped a few buttons, and canceled it. Ashley went pale. The mask had shattered completely. You wouldn't," she stammered. I simply shrugged. "I just did." Tyler let out a slow whistle. "Damn, dude." Ashley's hands curled into fists. "This is low even for you." She laughed, though there was no humor in it. "You think this is low? You think it's unfair?" I laughed outright. "Fair? Ashley, you lied to me for months. You had another man thinking you were single while you came home to my bed. And you expected to get away with it, to keep living here as if nothing happened?" She gritted her teeth. "Where am I supposed to go?" I took another sip of whiskey, smirking. "Not my problem." Ashley sucked in a sharp breath. Her hands trembled at her sides as she turned to Tyler, her expression morphing into something desperate. "Tyler, come on. Are you really okay with this?" Tyler exhaled, shaking his head. "Ashley, I don't even know who you are anymore." Her face fell, and in that moment, I saw it. The fear, the dawning realization that she wasn't in control any longer, that she'd lost everything. She opened her mouth, but I held up a hand. "No." I stood up and walked past her toward the front door. "I want you out. Now." She followed, her voice rising. "You can't just..." I swung the door open, and she froze. I met her gaze, my smile turning cold. "I can," and I did. For the first time that night, Ashley looked genuinely terrified, and that, to me, was the sweetest revenge of all. Her breath hitched, and her eyes darted between me, Tyler, and the open doorway like a trapped animal. She didn't know what to do. She wasn't used to losing. Tyler shifted awkwardly behind me, rubbing the back of his neck as if he wished he could disappear. And honestly, I couldn't blame him. But this wasn't about him. It was about Ashley, the woman who had spent months lying, manipulating, and treating me like a joke, only to now realize she no longer held the cards. Her lips parted, and for the first time all night, she looked small. "You're really kicking me out?" I raised an eyebrow. "Need me to spell it out?" She exhaled shakily, her voice softening to something almost rehearsed. "Come on, babe, let's just talk about this, okay? Just the two of us." Tyler scoffed under his breath. I laughed. "No, Ashley, we're past talking." I leaned against the door frame, cool and composed. "Unless you want to explain why you lied to my face every single day for 6 months?" Her jaw clenched into silence. "Yeah, that's what I thought." She licked her lips, her eyes flicking to Tyler. "And you? Are you really okay with this?" Tyler exhaled sharply. "Ashley, I don't even know who you are." That hit her hard for a moment. I almost felt a pang of sympathy. Almost, until I remembered the texts, the lies, the way she had sighed when caught, as if we were all simply inconveniencing her. Ashley didn't deserve my pity. Her gaze snapped back at me, and in that instant the saccharine, pitiful act was gone. Her expression had turned steely. "Fine," she declared, stepping forward with her chin held high. "I'm leaving, but you're going to regret this." I couldn't help but smirk. "There you are, huh?" I teased, tilting my head because I was clearly enjoying every moment. Her nostrils flared. For a split second I thought she might actually slap me. Instead, she shoved past me and stormed toward the front door. After taking 3 determined steps onto the porch, she suddenly halted. "Tyler." I turned, grinning as I spotted perfect timing. At the base of the porch stood Brittany, Ashley's only real family. the one person whose opinion truly meant something to her. Judging by the burning anger in Brittany's eyes, Ashley was in for a far worse night than she had imagined. The very moment Ashley caught sight of Brittany, her whole body stiffened. In a barely audible whisper, as if surprised by her own vulnerability, she murmured, "I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't ready for it." "Brittany, what are you doing here?" Brittany's gaze was unyielding and cold as she fixed Ashley with a flat, emotionless tone. "I was out with some friends tonight, and then, guess what popped up on my messages?" She held her phone up so that even from the porch, Ashley could see the damning texts and Tyler's screenshots. Every single piece of proof documenting the disgusting, manipulative behavior Ashley had pulled. I shot Tyler a look. He merely offered a small, unapologetic shrug as if to say, "What can you do?" Ashley's face drained of color. "Brittany, I know," her voice cut off sharply. "I don't want to hear it." Brittany snapped, her tone final. Ashley flinched. This reaction was entirely new. She had never quivered like this when I called her out or when I'd gotten angry. But Brittany was different. She was the one person Ashley had always looked up to, the one person she simply couldn't bear to disappoint. And now Brittany was disgusted with her. I saw Ashley's throat bob as she swallowed hard. "Brittany, please, you don't understand." "Understand what?" Brittany interrupted, her voice steely. "You're a liar, a cheat, and you treated your husband like trash while secretly sneaking around with a guy who didn't even know you were married." Her lip curled in disdain. "God, Ashley, what on earth is wrong with you?" Ashley winced as she turned to me, eyes pleading. "Come on, you don't have to do this." I blinked in surprise. Did she really think I'd orchestrated this reunion? I let out a sharp, bitter laugh. "Ashley, I didn't invite your sister here. Your own actions brought her in." Tyler folded his arms. "Yeah, we're just sitting back and enjoying the show." Ashley shot Tyler such a venomous glare it could have set a building ablaze. But this time, she was powerless. Desperate, she turned back to Brittany, switching tactics. "Brittany, please, you're my sister. Aren't you supposed to be on my side?" Brittany let out a bitter chuckle. "On your side? Really? Do you even know what side means? Because from where I'm standing, the only side you care about is your own." For a long moment, Ashley's face contorted. I thought I'd see tears, but just as quickly as the emotion appeared, it vanished. She squared her shoulders, clenched her jaw, and forced herself back into a cold, defensive mode. "You're all being ridiculous," she snapped. "You act like this is the worst thing in the world, as if I'm some monster. People cheat all the time." Brittany's jaw tightened. "You didn't just cheat, Ashley." Rolling her eyes dramatically, Ashley scoffed. "Oh, come on, Britt, no. Don't you get it?" Brittany shot back, her tone rising. "You didn't merely cheat. You lied, manipulated, and played two people at once, without a care for whose feelings got shattered." Then, shaking her head in bitter disappointment, Brittany continued in a lowered, hurt tone. "You don't even feel any remorse." A crushing silence fell. Ashley looked away, not out of guilt, but because she had no defense left. Brittany exhaled slowly, her anger softening into weary finality. "I don't even recognize you anymore." Ashley's hands curled into fists. "So, you're cutting me off?" Brittany's voice was firm. "Until you learn to be a decent human being, yes." Ashley sucked in a sharp breath. "Brittany, please." Brittany shook her head, stepped off the porch, and added, "Figure out somewhere to stay tonight." "Ashley, but it sure won't be with me." With that, she turned and walked away. Ashley stood on the porch, watching Brittany's silhouette vanish into the night. For the first time that evening, she truly looked lost. That's when it hit her. She wasn't just losing her home. She was losing everyone. Frozen on the porch, Ashley stared out at the empty street where Brittany had disappeared. All night, she hadn't sneered or rolled her eyes, nor had she tried to gaslight her way out of the mess she'd created. She simply stood there, because this wasn't part of her plan at all. She had thought she could manipulate me, keep Tyler in her back pocket, and that her own blood would always have her back. But now, she had nothing. I stepped forward, arms crossed, and nodded toward the street. You'd better start walking. Ashley whipped her head toward me. For a fleeting second, I saw genuine panic in her eyes. You're really forcing me to leave? She pleaded. I arched an eyebrow. You still don't understand, do you? I gestured toward the house. This place isn't yours anymore. Her throat bobbed as she fought to remain composed. I felt it then, that moment when she finally realized I wasn't playing along any longer. Tyler wasn't playing along. Brittany wasn't either. Ashley had run out of pawns. I have nowhere to go, she gasped. I smirked. Not my problem. Tyler let out a low whistle. Damn, that's cold. I shrugged. Colder than lying to someone's face for 6 months, colder than cheating in our own home, than stealing time, effort, and love from people who actually cared about you. She didn't answer. She couldn't. Ashley's voice came out in a shaky whisper. Babe, please. I tilted my head, amused. Babe? You lost the right to call me that. Her lower lip trembled, and for the first time all night, she looked truly small. Finally, her voice cracked. Please don't do this. She even sniffled. Listen, I said, my tone cold and unwavering as I stepped closer. You made your choices. You thought you were untouchable, that you could lie, cheat, and use people without facing any consequences. I gestured toward the door. This is what consequences look like. Tears welled in her eyes, but I felt nothing. Ashley wiped them away, her whole body trembling as she whispered, Can I at least stay tonight? Tyler snorted. You gotta be kidding me. I smirked. Oh, you'd love that, wouldn't you? I paused, a long, heavy pause, until in the quietest, most fragile voice I'd ever heard from her, she pleaded, Please. I took a slow breath, then leaned in close and whispered harshly in her ear. No, with that, I closed the door in her face. The latch clicked shut. For a long moment, I just stood there listening to the silence, waiting for any movement, for another knock, or for the sound of Ashley trying one last time to worm her way back in. Nothing. Then I heard a muffled noise, a breathy, shaky exhale. I turned to Tyler. He was still by the kitchen counter, arms crossed, his expression unreadable. Think she's crying? He muttered. I didn't answer because I knew the truth. Ashley wasn't sobbing like the dramatic type who craves pity. No, this was different, a quiet, stifled cry that only came when someone finally realized they'd lost everything. Tyler rubbed his jaw, exhaling hard. Man, that was brutal. I nodded and rolled my shoulders. Yeah, it was, but I don't regret it. Not for a second. For months, Ashley had control. She played me, played Tyler, played anyone who cared about her. And she did it so easily, so casually, as if it meant nothing. Now she's alone. I could still almost feel her presence on the other side of that door. Probably standing there, arms wrapped around herself, mind racing for an escape. But there was no way out this time. Part of me almost wanted to open that door, not to comfort her, never again, but simply to watch the look on her face when reality finally struck. Instead, I picked up my whiskey glass, drained the last drop, and turned back to Tyler. You sticking around? I asked. He hesitated, then shook his head. Nah, I think I've had enough drama for one night. I nodded in agreement. Tyler exhaled a short breath and then gave me a look. Not quite pity, but close. I know I already said it, but man, I'm sorry. If I'd known she was married. I cut in. You didn't, and I'm not mad at you. He studied my face. You're really that cool about it? I smirked. Oh, I'm not exactly thrilled, but the person I really want to destroy is already beyond saving. Tyler let out a low whistle. Brutal. I shrugged. Truth is, she's more ruthless than lying to someone's face for half a year. Tyler nodded, then grabbed his jacket. Well, take care, man. Yeah, you too, I replied. Tyler hesitated again as he glanced toward the door, then sighed and headed out the back. Smart move. Ashley was still out there, alone on the front porch. I didn't even check the windows or peek through the blinds. I already knew exactly what she must look like right now. Arms wrapped around herself, jaw set tight, desperately searching for someone, anyone, to take her in. But Brittany was gone, Tyler had moved on, and I had finally shut the door on her for good. For the first time in years, the house actually felt like mine. No more whispered lies. No more furtively checking her phone when she left the room wondering if I'd come up with some new excuse or another last-minute work emergency. No more waiting for the inevitable collapse. It had already happened. And now, Ashley was gone. I sank onto the couch, staring at the darkened TV screen with my whiskey glass dangling from my fingers. I hadn't checked the front door in over an hour. No knocks, no sobbing, no sudden pleas for mercy. Ashley wasn't the type to sit alone in the cold and cry about her mistakes. She was the kind who clawed her way out of them. So where the hell had she gone? I sighed, rubbing a hand over my jaw. Not my problem, not anymore. Then my phone buzzed. I frowned and reached for it, half expecting one last desperate text from Ashley. But when I glanced at the screen, my stomach clenched. It was a message from Brittany. I hesitated, then answered with a curt, "Yeah." A long, sharp sigh came through the line. She just showed up at my place. Of course she did. I smirked and sank back into the couch. Let me guess. Crying, playing the victim, acting like everyone turned against her? Brittany let out a bitter laugh. You have no idea. I could practically hear the irritation and exhaustion in her voice. Brittany was a lot of things, but stupid wasn't one of them. She wasn't about to fall for Ashley's wide-eyed, innocent act. I propped my feet up on the coffee table. So, what did you tell her? That she can sleep in her damn car? Brittany's tone was blunt. She's not coming in. I chuckled. Brutal. Not as brutal as what she did to you, though. Brittany's voice sharpened. I don't know how I didn't see it before. She's always been selfish. But this is next level. I swirled the last of the whiskey in my glass. You done with her? After a moment's hesitation, Brittany replied, "Yeah, I think I am." I nodded silently to myself. Good. Ashley never deserved people like Brittany in her life. After another pause, Brittany's tone softened. You okay? I thought about that for a second. Was I? The anger had dulled. The betrayal was still there, its echoes, but it wasn't the gut-wrenching pain it had once been. Ashley was out of my house, out of my life, and for the first time in months, I could finally breathe. A small, satisfied smirk tugged at my lips. Then, the knock came at 3:12 a.m. It was soft and hesitant, as if whoever was on the other side didn't really want to be here, but had no choice. I already knew who it must be. I let the silence stretch, letting her feel every moment. Then came another louder knock. I sighed, set my glass down, and walked to the door without haste, making her wait, making her squirm. Finally, I pulled the door open. Ashley. She stood there in ruins, hair tangled, mascara smeared, eyes swollen from real tears, not the fake kind she once used to manipulate. Her arms were wrapped around herself, as if trying to hold herself together. The moment she saw me, she let out a sharp, shuddering breath, her lips trembling as she whispered, "Please." I leaned against the door frame, arms folded. After a heavy swallow, Ashley pleaded, "Just let me in." I tilted my head. "Why?" She sucked in another desperate breath. "Because I have nowhere else to go." A cold smirk curled on my lips. Not my problem. Her eyes shimmered with tears as she begged, "Come on, just for tonight. I promise I'll leave in the morning." I sighed, rubbing my chin. "Let me get this straight. You cheated on me, lied to my face for months, and now that you've run out of people to use, you want me to help you?" I clicked my tongue. "That's rich." Her eyes glistened with tears. I know I messed up. I really do." I arched an eyebrow. "Do you?" A single tear slipped down her cheek as she whispered, "I didn't mean to hurt you." I laughed coldly, my tone sharp. "Oh, Ashley, you knew exactly what you were doing every single time you texted him, every time you snuck around. You made your choice over and over again." She swallowed hard. "I know. I shook my head. No, you don't. You don't feel bad about hurting me. You only feel bad because you lost me. Her lips parted, but no words came. She knew I was right. The old, confident, arrogant Ashley was gone. Now, she was simply a broken woman with nothing left. I sighed, studying her one last time, then reached for the door. Wait, Ashley, she panicked. I slammed the door in her face once more. This time, she didn't knock again. There was nothing. No more pleading. Just the cold, empty night beyond the door. I lingered for a moment, fingers still on the handle, to see if she'd try again. She didn't. Taking a slow breath, I turned away and walked back into the house. A house that, for the first time in years, felt truly mine. No more whispered lies. No more manipulative webs spun around me by Ashley. That I sank onto the couch, poured myself one last drink, and exhaled deeply, letting the weight of months of betrayal and the sheer insanity of the night settle over me. Then my phone buzzed. I frowned, glancing at the screen. It was Brittany. I hesitated a moment before answering with a curt, "Yeah." A long, sharp sigh came through the line. She just called me. Of course she did. I smirked and leaned back. Let me guess. She's crying, playing the victim, acting as if everyone turned on her? Brittany let out a bitter laugh. You have no idea. I could hear every ounce of irritation and exhaustion in her voice. Brittany was smart. She wasn't going to fall for Ashley's wide-eyed, innocent act this time. I propped my feet up on the coffee table. So, what did you tell her? That she should sleep in her car? Her tone was blunt. She's not coming in. I chuckled. Brutal. Not as brutal as what she did to you, though. Her voice then sharpened. I don't know how I didn't see it before. She's always been selfish, but this is next level. I swirled the last bit of whiskey in my glass. So, you're done with her? After a pause, she replied, Yeah, I think I am. I nodded to myself. Good. Ashley never deserved someone like Brittany in her corner. After another brief pause, Brittany's tone softened. You okay? I considered that for a moment. Really, was I okay? The sting of betrayal was still there, but it wasn't the soul-crushing pain it once had been. Ashley was gone from my house, from my life, and for the first time in months, I could breathe freely. A small, satisfied smirk tugged at my lips. Then, as if on cue, the knock came again at 3:12 a.m., soft and hesitant, as though the person on the other side had no real choice. I already knew it had to be Ashley. I let the silence hang, letting her feel every agonizing second, until another, louder knock shattered the quiet. I sighed, set my glass aside, and walked over to the door slowly, making her wait, making her squirm, until I finally pulled it open. Standing there, Ashley looked utterly wrecked. Her hair a tangled mess, mascara smeared, her eyes swollen from genuine tears, not the manipulative, feigned kind she'd once used. Her arms were wrapped around herself, as if trying to hold together the fragments of her world. The moment she saw me, she took in a sharp, shuddering breath. Her lips trembled as she managed to whisper, "Please." I leaned against the doorframe, arms folded. After a heavy swallow, she pleaded, "Just let me in." I tilted my head. And why should I? She inhaled sharply, desperation clear in her eyes. Because I have nowhere else to go. A cold smirk spread over my face. Not my problem. Her eyes glistened with tears as she begged, "Come on, just for tonight. I promise I'll be gone by morning." I sighed, rubbing my chin thoughtfully. Let me get this straight. You cheated on me, lied to my face for months, and now that you've run out of people to exploit, you want me to help you? I clicked my tongue in disbelief. Her eyes filled with tears as she whispered, I know I messed up. I never meant to hurt you." I laughed coldly. "Oh, Ashley, you knew exactly what you were doing every single time you sent that text, every single time you snuck around. You made your choice. Over and over again." She swallowed hard. "I know." I shook my head slowly. "No, you don't. You don't feel remorse for hurting me. All you feel is regret because you lost me. Her lips parted, but no further words came. She knew I was right. The old, cocky, untouchable Ashley was gone. Now, she was just a shattered woman with nothing left. I exhaled a final sigh as I reached for the door. "Wait, Ashley," she pleaded in panic. This time, without hesitation, I slammed the door shut. It clicked decisively. For a moment, I simply stood there, fingers on the handle, waiting to see if she'd try again. There was nothing. No more knocks, no more pleading. Only the cold, empty night on the other side. I took a slow breath, turned away, and walked back inside. This was a house that for the first time in years felt truly clean, free of her lies, her manipulation, and the twisted web of deceit she had spun around me for so long. Ashley was gone for good, and I wasn't sad, heartbroken, or even angry anymore. I was simply done. I poured myself one last drink, sat down on the couch, and let the silence settle. The weight of months of betrayal, the insanity of the night, all fading into the background. Then my phone buzzed again. I frowned and saw a message from Brittany. I picked it up. After a long, resigned sigh, Brittany's voice came through. She lost everything tonight. I don't know what to do. I let out a sharp chuckle. Translation: she's pissed that no one's bailing her out. Brittany snorted. There was a pause, then softly she asked, "You good?" I thought about it, really thought about it. Then I leaned back on the couch, stretched out, and exhaled a slow, satisfied breath. For the first time in a long, long time, I felt a sense of closure. Ashley didn't disappear. She tried desperately to fix things, to claw her way back in. But it didn't work. She burned every bridge. Tyler moved on. Brittany cut her off. And I thrived. I got a lawyer, handled everything, and a few months later I moved on too. Last I heard, Ashley was bouncing from couch to couch, burning through every last favor she could squeeze from people. But favors run out, just like lies. And the best part? I don't care anymore. She always thought she was untouchable, believing she could win every game. In the end, she only ended up playing herself.